Hello BookTube, Books with Bangs back again with another exciting video today. Today we're gonna do a birthday slash Black Friday book haul. Both. My birthday was just before Thanksgiving, then of course Black Friday is always just happened right after there. So I'm gonna go through real quick and kind of talk about the different books, different things I picked up at the beginning of this holiday season, and different things people gifted to me. And a lot of this will probably hint at where my reading plans are going to be shifting into, or this new series I'm looking to get into a little bit more, and different types of books, different types of reading I'm really excited to move forward with in 2023. I'll have more specific videos coming out later, especially as we get into December, about what series I really intend to read next year, what I might have to save until like 2024-ish. But for now, I'll just kind of go through what I picked up as kind of a bit of a teaser for where I hope my channel is going to go in the next 12 months or so. So I took advantage of the Barnes & Noble was doing this thing where, if you remember, and I don't know if it was a purchase of a certain amount or more, but maybe just any purchase, they were giving out a free book journal. So I got this, and it's really, really cute, I think, and it just has like ways to, keep track of what you've been reading. Really, really nice stuff. Only has up through, let's see. It has like 100 different like books to keep track of, but it also has like book club note sections, my book list sections in the back. So a really wish list of books to read. Really, really nice book journal from Barnes & Noble there. Freebie for Black Friday. A lot of what I actually wound up getting wasn't so much because of the deals. The deals brought me out to see what was available, and then when I was just at the bookstore, I was like, oh, I've been meaning to get this or that or whatever. So, I guess that part of the whole commercialism process of buying books and stuff worked. It worked on me. They got me. But I really am excited for everything, and this book journal is just kind of like a beginning to that. So then, I have talked about how I'm excited to get into some more of this series as I go forward with my channel. I haven't read much of it, but there are sub-series and standalones within this massive series, and from what I hear, a lot of this can be kind of palate cleansers for the denser, heavier fantasy that, this genre we all love is so full of, all of these more serious, sorry, I'm gonna straighten that out just a tiny bit. The genre is so full of such serious tomes that really kind of make us super emotional, so I'm excited to get into more of, and really start reading any of Terry Pratchett's Discworld books. Here we have Small Gods. Again, this is like that mass market paperback edition that's the same dimension in this way, but it's a little stretched and taller this way, which I think can get a little weird. I don't like it when like really long books use this format, but because these are all a little shorter, I don't think it'll bother me that much. And I like most of all that they have matching colors. Small Gods here, this is one I've heard is a lot of people's favorite in the whole series, and it is a bit of a standalone, and I do, if you saw my Cosmere ranking of what I've read so far, you'll know I like kind of critical conversations about what religion is, what religion means, and I'm excited to get into how Terry Pratchett here writes a kind of spoof, or from what I understand, might be a bit of a spoof on different organized religions. So yeah, really excited to get into Small Gods. But then other booktubers that I'm a big fan of, such as Alan at Library of Alexandria, and even Daniel Green, who also recommended Small Gods. They've all said, or everyone's had nothing but good things to say about Guards, and this series of, I forget what the actual kind of sub-series is, but I think it's like 6 or 8 of the Discworld books are all about these characters, with, I believe, Commander Vimes is one of the main ones there. So I picked this up as kind of a entry point into this sub-series of Discworld. If anyone out there thinks I might like this story better, or some of the like witches or wizard stuff that I already have the first one or two of in those series. I really am just trying to get a lot of the jumping off points into different avenues into Discworld. So yeah, I was excited to see both Small Gods and Guards at my bookstores, and so I picked that one up. And then the other three, and this might be a little frustrating because I think I didn't get either the second or the third one. I don't remember the exact order, but I'd say the sub-series of Discworld that I'm most excited to get into are the 5 books that have to do with the death character. So we have Mort here, Hogfather, and Reaper Man. I think these might be in that death sub-series, books 1, 2, and 4, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm really, really excited to read these. And especially from what I read somewhere that the 5th one in this, Thief of Time or Thieves of Time, something like that, might have to do with academic type characters. And I really like getting into how different authors criticize academia in the fantasy genre, or try to incorporate into their books. So, I mean, you know, just a quick example, how George R. Martin uses the Maesters to kind of comment on that kind of ivory tower academic type of archetype, I guess. So if this does touch on some of that stuff, I'm really excited, even if it's not, even if those types of academics characters aren't really in these specific ones. I'm excited to get to that, but I'm also really just fascinated by the concept of death and how death is tackled as a character in fantasy. So many of my videos so far are about the Molassin series and the character of Hood, basically God of Death, Lord of Death in that series. He's one of my favorites, even though he has a very kind of subtle presence throughout, I'd say, the majority of those books. But yeah, so I'll stop rambling about these a little more. I'll say excited about the whole death being a character, seeing what comedy kind of societal critiques Pratchett might have about concepts of death, things like that, and also interested in what I've heard, that there might be some more stuff with academic type people in some of the books in this sub-series. Really excited for all of these Pratchett books, all of these Discworld books, these 5 that I just picked up. But again, if anyone has any ideas of which specific series I should start with, any unique, you know, reading orders that you might recommend, like I've looked up a few, and a lot of it's kind of makes sense to me, like depending on my tastes, different types of characters and tropes I want to see lampooned a little bit, or you know, criticized a little bit, then I might, you know, go into any of these different series at different points in time. But if you're a fan of my channel and based on my other content, you think you really know there's one specific standalone here that I'd love more than the others, one specific sub-series you think I might love more than the others, I'd love to hear anything like that down below in the comments. So that's the Discworld stuff. Then I made a video a little bit ago about Lord of the Rings, and specifically about comparing Rings of Power to the extra works of Tolkien's Legendarium up there. And like you can see up there, I have the first 5 volumes of Histories of Middle-earth, and then I have volume 8, which is the third of the 4 books in that large kind of 12-volume series, I guess we can call it, that, you know, picks apart and analyzes and annotates Mr. Tolkien's writing process, and those specifically volumes 6 through 9 are dealing with analyzing or going through the notes and drafts and things, and the process that he had in coming up with specifically the Lord of the Rings books. So my brother, for my birthday, he sent me, this is volume 6 in Histories of Middle-earth, and this is really the kind of beginning of this part of this Histories of Middle-earth series. This is the beginning of the volumes that collect those notes specific to Lord of the Rings itself, and not so much on Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, anything like that. So I'm really excited to give this a look through, a read through, see, according to my brother, there's a lot of stuff in here about the inception of where Saruman came from, why Tolkien wanted to incorporate a character like that, certain elements of world building with the hobbits, with Tom Bombadil, all of these different things. And I think this has like drafts that go up through like partway, like maybe up through Mines of Moria, maybe somewhere up to that point in Fellowship. So yeah, just really excited to, you know, kind of give or get a little deeper into my scholarly understanding of Tolkien's wonderful, detailed, imaginative world with this, The Return of the Shadow, Volume 6 in the 12-volume Histories of Middle-earth that Christopher Tolkien put together. Really excited for that. And then this next one is a graphic novel, or a new kind of collected edition of the first massive chunk of a series of graphic novels, and this is Neil Gaiman's Sandman. Now, these are larger collections. I know there's like a series of 10 that collected the different issues, and I just saw this at Barnes & Noble on Black Friday, and #1, and I think it covers this massive kind of collection here covers volumes 1 through 3, if I'm not mistaken, of those smaller kind of, the smaller graphic novels in that 10-volume series. Only thing I'm not crazy about with this is that Netflix kind of logo on the front there, but I've heard the adaptation's pretty good, and if I'm going to take the massive pro of having all of this collected in one massive volume, at least this beginning chunk of the series, and weigh that against the con of having a label like that, Netflix label there, I'm okay, you know, taking that, taking the good with the bad. If that's all the bad there is, that's great. I'm really excited to get into the Sandman. The only Neil Gaiman I've ever read is actually Ocean at the End of the Lane, I think is what it's called. Or something like that, a shorter book that he wrote. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this. Love comics, and yeah. If anyone out there has any recommendations on like reading order, like even though it is, you know, volume 1, and it collects like volumes 1, 2, and 3, if anyone's like, oh no, you have to read some of the other Sandman universe related stuff first, please let me know down below. I really know nothing about this series other than it's such a massive hit, and apparently it's very powerful, means a lot to people, and a lot to people who are fans of the fantasy sci-fi genre, so I'm really excited to get into this. Especially if I'm, you know, having a bit of a slower reading month or couple of months, then diving into a graphic novel will help, you know, maybe speed things up, make my brain work a little different, analyzing art instead of just the words on the page. Really excited to kick off my Sandman journey next year. Then next, kind of going off that same vein of thought, I don't have any experience with reading manga, but I'm really excited to get into manga. I just really don't know the first thing about it, where to start, what people might recommend. I am, however, a big fan of the Dark Souls video games, and as I know a lot of that art is inspired by Berserk, I decided to pick up the first 5 of these smaller volumes here, and because I know they've got like the deluxe ones out, but I don't have quite that much money to blow or to spend. But yeah, so I'm really excited to get into this stuff. From what I understand, there are different kind of time jumps, different arcs, and the 5th arc, I believe, of Berserk is unfinished because, and correct me if I'm mistaken, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I believe the one of the either the author or the artist or someone involved in the creative or behind these passed away before it could be completed. But I've heard really great things. I know other booktubers I enjoy, like Jimmy Nuts. He's been reading these and he's enjoyed them. Mike and Mike's book reviews has been reading some Berserk and he enjoyed those, or he enjoyed them as well. So really excited to give Berserk a try, give manga a try. I'm not sure if I'm, jumping in at the deep end as far as manga goes, if there are any tropes or peculiarities of the medium that I should be aware of. Please let me know about that down below. But yeah, really, really excited to get into these. Again, other than getting used to reading a format that I'm not used to, I doubt once I get into the groove of it, these won't, they're not going to take me as long to get through as specific novels and things. So these could be a sort of a palate cleanser. I'm sure they'll be intense and might have grapple with difficult kind of headier topics and stuff and themes. But as far as reading pace and breezing through certain things, I'm excited to use these and kind of work my first foray into manga into my reading goals of 2023. So I picked up, again, that's the first 5 volumes of Berserk. Then, last but not least, my fiance was amazing and got me a trilogy of books that I know has been a real blind spot in my fantasy love and my experience with the genre, and I'm excited. I definitely plan to have all 3 of these read by some point next year, over the course of next year, and then, in the years to come, maybe even next year, depending on how much I love this trilogy, get into the other books in the same world, written by the same author. But these are the First Law books. This is the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. I guess it's the kind of grim, dark poster child series. I've heard the character work is outstanding here. I've heard there's twists and turns. There's great analysis of what it means to fight, how kind of pointless a lot of the violence is. I'm not sure if it's a particularly nihilistic or fatalistic kind of series, but I'm really excited to get into it, to find out, and to really understand when people talk about how much they love Logan Nine Fingers, I think is his name, or Glokta. I'm excited to get into these books and figure out why that is. And yeah, see if I agree with a lot of the other, a lot of the community's opinions about these. I've also heard that something that makes me really intrigued to get started here with book 1, The Blade itself. I've heard that it's not super plot heavy, and that it's more just a character study, and setting up a lot of the characters and pieces that are going to, in the next 2, or before they're hanged, The Last Argument of Kings, actually move things along in the story. So, whereas I could see that maybe discourages some people from picking up the series, that actually really intrigues me how the first novel in a trilogy could be structured like that. So I'm really excited to see a little bit more what people mean, and to eventually, get through the trilogy and then offer my own takes on the First Law trilogy. Again, I haven't read any Joe Abercrombie. Apparently, not only does he write dark fantasy really well, apparently he also writes comedy very, very well. So I'm looking forward to that dark comedy balance, and intertwining kind of marriage that apparently Mr. Abercrombie's very good at. So yeah, all that said, that's my birthday / Black Friday book haul, end of 2022. Thank you so much for watching. If you're excited to see me get into any of these series, end of this year or beginning of next year, please let me know down below in the comments. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.